I already made a video about Littleton, but I did not tell you everything in my first video. Because Littleton is one of those places that looks pretty simple at first. And then you live here and realize, oh, there's actually a lot more going on. People come to visit for a weekend, drive through a few neighborhoods, see the views, and think, okay, I get it, cute town close to the mountains. And honestly, that's exactly why people get surprised after they move here. Because it's not just one thing. Some parts feel like a small town, other parts feel like classic suburbs. And then there are areas where you wake up and feel like you're basically living in nature. And those differences really change what your day-to-day life feels like. So if you watch my first video, these are 10 more things that go a little deeper. The stuff people don't realize until they're actually living here. Hi, I'm Ewelina, and together with my husband Simon, we help buyers and sellers all across the Denver metro area. We lived here for over 25 years, so this isn't just where we work, it's home for us. We help a lot of people relocating to Colorado, and we get asked about Littleton all the time. So let's get into 10 more things that actually shape your day-to-day life. Number 1, parks that don't feel like parks. Littleton has a lot of parks. Like a lot. You got your typical neighborhood parks, trails, open space, all of that. But what really stands out is that you're not just getting small local parks. You're surrounded by these much bigger, more natural areas that people actually use all the time. For example, Chatfield State Park is huge. You got the reservoir, the marina, people paddleboarding, biking, walking, running. It's one of those places where you can easily spend an entire day and not feel like you're in a park at all. Then there's Roxborough State Park, which feels completely different. You got those dramatic red rock formations, quieter trails, and it almost feels like you're stepping into a different part of Colorado. It's a little more peaceful and a little more scenic. Waterton Canyon is another favorite. It's a long, simple trail through the canyon, great for walking or biking, and you'll almost always see wildlife, especially bighorn sheep. And then South Valley Park, which is a bit more of a secret favorite. It has similar red rock views like Roxborough, but it's usually less crowded. It feels more local, more relaxed, and it's a really easy spot to go for a quick hike without making a whole day out of it. So when people talk about that Colorado lifestyle, this is it. You basically have it in your backyard. So that's more your day-to-day. But once you go a little beyond that, this next part comes up pretty quickly. Number 2, you're close to the mountains until everyone else has the same idea. Yes, you're close to the mountains. That part is true. But what no one really explains is that so is everyone else. The weekend comes around, the weather is nice, you're thinking a quick hike or an easy drive. And suddenly you're sitting in traffic with half the Denver metro area doing the exact same thing. If you're heading into the foothills, it's usually still pretty manageable and easy to get to. But if your plans take you deeper into the mountains, especially along I-70 for skiing or bigger trips, that's when traffic really picks up. And what should feel quick can turn into a much longer day. Most locals learn to plan around it by going early, later in the day, or during the week when they can. Is it still worth it? Of course. That access is a big reason people love living here. But if you're picturing empty roads and spontaneous mountain trips every Saturday, that's not always the reality. And this is where people start to notice something else. Number 3, you're going to drive more than you think. A lot of people underestimate this. They move here thinking, I'll just find a good area and walk most places. But that's not really how it works. Even in good neighborhoods, you're still driving for groceries, errands, the gym, pretty much everything. Yes, there are some smaller pockets like parts of downtown Littleton where you can walk more and it feels a bit more connected. But overall, this is still a very car-dependent lifestyle. Things are spread out, and even places that look close on the map usually still require a short drive. And once you start going outside your neighborhood, like to other parts of Littleton or toward Denver, you're definitely in the car for at least 20 minutes. And it can be an adjustment if you're coming from a walkable city. Number 4, some neighborhoods feel like you're living in nature, not near it. This is one of the things that actually exceeds expectations. Especially as you get closer to the foothills, you will find areas where it doesn't feel like a typical suburb at all. It's quieter, there's more open space, and in many neighborhoods you have mountain views, wildlife passing through, or even trails right behind your house. Areas like Roxborough are a great example. You're surrounded by red rock formations, it feels very private, and honestly, it doesn't feel like you're near a city at all. And then you have newer communities like Solstice near Chatfield Reservoir, where you still get that outdoor feel with easy access to trails, water, and open space, but with a more modern neighborhood setup. Now, not every part of Littleton feels like this. Some areas are more traditional suburban, but when you find one of these pockets, it really is a completely different experience. Number 5, trails aren't a feature, they're part of daily life. And this kind of connects directly to what I just mentioned about certain neighborhoods feeling more like nature. But what is interesting, even if you don't have super easy access to a big park, you still have access to trails. That's just how this area is set up. In a lot of places in Denver, trails are something you drive to. You plan it out, go for a hike, and that's your activity for the day. Here, it's very different. Trails are just built in. You will see them running through neighborhoods, connecting communities, and showing up in places you wouldn't expect. For example, you have the Mary Carter Greenway Trail, which runs along the river and connects a lot of Littleton. Or the High Line Canal Trail that stretches from miles through different parts of the Denver area. Plus, you have your local neighborhood trails, and people actually use them. Morning walks, runs, biking, walking the dog, it's constant. It's not something you have to plan for. It just becomes part of your everyday routine. So instead of going somewhere to be outside, you're already in it. And because you're so connected to open space, this is something that comes with it. Number 6, wildlife is part of living here. You're going to see animals, that's just part of living in Littleton. Deer in neighborhoods are completely normal. You'll see them in yards, crossing streets, just doing their thing like they belong there. And the closer you get to the foothills or open space, the more you will see. Then there are coyotes. You don't always see them right away, but you will definitely hear them, especially at night. In places like Roxborough Park or Ken Carroll Valley, it goes even more than that. Once you're closer to open space, wildlife is just part of daily life. And people do see bears, bobcats, and even the occasional mountain lion, sometimes right on their Ring cameras. And in the winter, near Chatfield Reservoir, it's not unusual to see elk as well, even crossing busy roads like Wadsworth, which definitely surprises people the first time. It's a reminder that you're not far from nature, even though you're in a neighborhood, and for a lot of people, that's a big reason they love living here. 7. Some homes come with things people don't expect. This one matters if you're buying, especially if you're coming from out of state. Not every home here is set up the way people expect, but it also depends a lot on the area. Parts of Littleton, especially closer to the foothills or near larger open space like around Chatfield State Park, used to be more country-like or even farmland. Because of that, you will still find some properties, usually on larger lots, that are on wells instead of city water or septic systems instead of city sewer. Don't worry, most typical suburban neighborhoods are fully on city utilities, but it does come up more than people expect if you're looking at homes with more land or in those edge areas. Another thing that surprises people is basements. Here, they're very common and a lot of them are fully finished. They're not just storage, they're often set up like a second living area with bedrooms, bathrooms, even full guest spaces. So don't be surprised if 2 out of 3 bedrooms are actually in basement. It's not a problem, it's just how homes are built here. Okay, as you're listening to all of this, if you're starting to think that Littleton might actually be a place you could see yourself living, I did put together a relocation guide that you might really enjoy. It's not about buying or selling, it's just about what daily life here actually looks like. Things to do, parks, restaurants, and details people don't always think about before moving. It's free and the link is in the description below. Number 8. People here are actually outdoorsy. Every city says they're outdoorsy, but Littleton actually lives it. You will see people hiking before work, walking or running during the day, and still outside in the evenings, even when it's not that warm. It's not something people plan as a big activity, it's just part of their normal routine. Trails are busy during the week. People are biking, walking dogs, and using dog parks all the time, including one of the biggest dog parks around at Chatfield State Park. Even restaurants have full patios when you wouldn't expect it, sometimes with heaters on and people still choosing to sit outside. Weekends obviously get busier, but this isn't just a weekend thing, it's everyday life. Being outside isn't something you have to schedule. It's just built into how people live here, and after a while, you start doing the same thing without even thinking about it. Number 9, the sky and sunsets here are on a different level. Okay, this might sound random, but the sky here just looks different. It feels bigger, brighter, probably because of the elevation and how open everything is. And being closer to the foothills makes a difference too, especially on sunset. The sunsets here really stand out. You will get evenings where the whole sky lights up with orange, pink, and deep colors. And it's not rare. It happens often enough that people actually stop and look. You'll see people pulling over and grabbing their phones because it looks that good. I'm not even kidding. Every photo you take here looks like it belongs on Instagram. And even during the day, the blue sky is so clear and strong, it makes everything feel brighter. It sounds like a small thing, but it really changes how the place feels. And people end up loving it way more than they expected. And this last one, I see it happen all the time. Number 10. People move here for a year and end up staying. People move here thinking it's just temporary, like a year, maybe 2, new job, fresh starts, just trying something different. And then somehow they're still here. It's never just one big reason. It's a bunch of little things that start to add up. You get used to the lifestyle, being close to nature, having trails nearby. Your days just feel a little more balanced. Even things like the sunshine or being able to get outside more start to matter way more than you thought. And once that becomes your normal, it's actually hard to picture going back. So what was supposed to be temporary kind of just turns into long-term without you even realizing. If this helped you, please like the video and subscribe. I share a lot about Littleton and the areas around so you can actually get a feel for what it's like living here. If you got questions, drop them below. I read all of them and it really helps me decide what to film next. And if you're thinking about making a move, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to talk through your situation and help you figure out what makes the most sense for you.